Hello and welcome to the Diamond Report for Monday, April 24th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. It is currently 10:26 p.m. and we're looking at Earthquake 3D, and as you can see, there's a huge ring in the center of your screen. That would be the magnitude 7.0 earthquake that has happened just as the 6.0 did a couple of days ago, and we've been covering this on the Diamond Report the last couple days. We've had quite a bit of movement in this area just off the coast of Chile, and it was originally reported as a 7.1 by USGS. They've now downgraded it to a 6.9. As you can see, it's Valparaiso, Chile, just off the coast right here. And we did have, or we still do have, the two buoys in event mode there. That doesn't mean necessarily that there's a tsunami, but that there's been activity in that area. A 7.0 is probably not going to realistically cause a very large tsunami wave, although there could be a small wave off of it. It's really hard to tell. I haven't seen any other reports saying that there is a tsunami. But again, a 7.0 is not a massive quake from the standpoint of creating tsunamis. However, if you were in the area, I guarantee you would have felt that. It is a huge earthquake, nonetheless. And as I drop the magnitude slider down here, you can see that we have quite a swarm going on right around there, releasing pressure of all different magnitudes. And this 7.0, I'm just going to call it a 7.0 because that's basically what it is pretty shallow. And that is a result of these deep quakes coming from over here near Fiji that we saw a few days ago. Let me back this off here. You see this deep magnitude 6 that we had right here near Fiji several days back now. That's taken that long for that 6.0 that was deep, a deep 6.0 deep, meaning over 200 kilometers deep. It was 628. So this earthquake releasing pressure has taken that long to transfer over here and basically hit a wall over here at South America. So this 7.0 is what we were looking for to happen. I thought it was going to happen over here in the Western Pacific, but indeed it has happened there near Valparaiso in Chile. So that's the main thing I wanted to show you on the earthquake update today. So let's move on to the headlines. You got trumped. Winning horse in presidential race was a Trojan. Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling that way right now, myself included to a small degree, not to a huge degree yet. But I think the verdict's still out. I'm going to still give Trump some time to redeem himself. As a Christian, I feel like I have to do that, but I do feel like he has disappointed a lot of people. Although I do identify with the fact that he can't do everything on his own, even if he wanted to. And the people that he's put around him have been problematic, to say the least. So I'm still going to withhold judgment at this point. However, I do think that there is certainly room for improvement, and especially in his foreign policy and the way he's dealt with things outside of the United States. Within the United States, I feel like he's done an okay job so far. But anyway, hopefully it will get better, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But right or wrong, no matter what Trump has done thus far as president, I do agree with the sentiment that he is God's prosecuting attorney. He has revealed to the world the sins of our leaders, the sins of the nation as well, and he's making it obvious before everybody who lives on this planet of what our leaders have done to get us to where we're at now. So from that aspect, I do think that Trump has been very good, because I do think that God put him in position to be that prosecuting attorney, if that makes sense. From Zero Hedge, an increasingly worried Chinese president tells Trump to exercise restraint over North Korea. I would agree with that. 11 facts that prove that the U.S. economy in 2017 is in far worse shape than it was in 2016. That's from Michael Snyder of the Economic Collapse blog. Border wall showdown. Team Trump threatens government shutdown over beautiful wall. That's from Zero Hedge. China threatens retaliation to Trump's steel protectionism. In today's fiat money financial system, the House always wins. No wonder they wanted us to stay. UK leaving the EU without deal would cost Germany billions. That's on the Express. Chinese President Xi calls for calm as Japan conducts military exercises in Korean waters. Japan prepares to evacuate citizens as fears of North Korea nuclear strike grows. That's on the Express. Super Bowl for terrorists keep U.S. Homeland Security literally awake at night. That's on RT.com. Macron will deliver a weak France exactly what Brussels and Berlin want. The 56 French villages where Marine Le Pen didn't get a single vote. That's on Zero Hedge. That sounds an awfully lot like Trump in a few places when he was running against Hillary. I think that happened to him too. Trump says most of the media is fake. Yeah, we know that. It's called the mainstream media, or the Fakestream media, as I often call it. That's from Steve Watson of PrisonPlanet.com. Sean Hannity threatens legal action after Fox News guest claims he invited her back to his hotel and then cut her from his show after she rejected his advances. Well, it's getting crazy over there at Fox News, isn't it? Nobody can seem to keep it in their pants. Although it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this whole thing about Sean is popped up now to get rid of him, just like they got rid of O'Reilly. An X22 report, bubbles are popping, prepare for collapse. No deal yet to keep government going as Trump digs in on funding border wall and Pence flies home to help in the crisis. I mentioned this yesterday. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. drops vaccine truth bomb live on TV. He will not be allowed to do that again, I guarantee you. Just look at all the sponsors for live TV, for mainstream television. It's pretty much all Big Pharma. Merkel grants thousands of Taliban fighters entry into Germany. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Germany relieved by results of French presidential elections first round. That's on Sputnik News. Obama lied, Americans died, released Iranians tied to terror nuclear proliferation. That's on Breitbart. Trump says if they don't treat fairly, I am terminating NAFTA. North Korea to collapse in 12 weeks as China cuts fuel supply to Kim Jong-un. That's on the Daily Star. Candidate Trump says, I love Wikileaks, but President Trump says arrest Assange. Now what's wrong with that picture? Breaking, Marine Le Pen temporarily steps down as Front National leader. Trump to order corporate tax rate cut to 15%, load up to $2 trillion in extra debt. That's on Zero Hedge. What happens if the government shuts down? Well, I remember that happened back in the 90s, and Newt Gingrich got the blame. The Republicans got the blame back in the Bill Clinton days. And remember, he had the, they called it the contract on America. They demonized Newt Gingrich, probably rightfully so in some instances. I mean, he is a globalist. Vladimir Putin sends Russian spy planes over Central Europe as World War III fears surge. That's from the Express. World War III fears, paranoid Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump threaten preemptive strike. USS Michigan, U.S. nuclear-powered sub to join USS Carl Vinson near Korean Peninsula. That's on Sputnik News. U.S. F-35 jets to arrive in Estonia on Tuesday for air policing missions. Cops detain entire school, illegally search and grope 900 kids, find nothing. And rightfully so, the parents are furious. That's on the Free Thought Project. Will Macron serve the interests of the American deep state? Well, it seems to me like he wouldn't be in the position he's in if he was going to refuse serving the deep state, just like Trump. And I mentioned this on yesterday's Diamond Report. It seems like something is going to happen to take LePen out of this race. They are scared to death of LePen. They may even be more scared of her than they were of Trump. The demonization that's going on against her is incredible. A global catastrophe is being orchestrated by the elites. There are many things the president does not know. That's from shtfplan.com. From ENE News, mass die-off ongoing along U.S. West Coast. The TV says it's just not clear why all the marine life is washing up like this. Reports coming in every day. Experts say unknown organisms eating away brains and hearts. New infection never seen before. I like how these so-called experts are always surprised, and they don't understand what happened, and they're always sort of dumbfounded about what's going on. All they have to do is go to geoengineeringwatch.org and read some of Dane Wigington's articles. He explains exactly what's happening with the mass ocean die-offs. It's primarily due to geoengineering, changing the ocean currents because the wind patterns have been changed. Now the oceans are warming up exponentially, and you have methane releases all over the place from the sea floor, gassing the fish and causing mass animal die-off all across the oceans globally. Did George Soros orchestrate the firing of Bill O'Reilly from Fox News? That's on Freedom Outpost. Muslim spokesman Qasim Rashid says it's Islamophobic to notice the Fresno shooter screamed Allah Akbar. So now facts apparently can be Islamophobic. And as we reported a few minutes ago, massive 7.1 magnitude earthquake shakes Chile's capital, that being Santiago. That's on Sputnik News. North Korea could launch nuclear tests within hours as Kim celebrates military birthday. That's on the Express. Entire Senate invited to White House for classified briefing on North Korea from Mattis, Tillerson, and top military and intelligence officials. That doesn't sound good. 2 American women assaulted by Muslim men in Paris for refusing to sleep with them. That's on Gateway Pundit. Since when did they ask? I mean, usually it's just rape. They don't even ask questions. They just rape. What the FDA does not want you to know. It's from Dr. Ted Broer. This is posted by Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show. Dr. Broer is an amazing person to listen to. He's really, really good and very aware of all this stuff that I talk about and that so many other people talk about. Highly recommend that you listen to Dr. Broer's radio show. He has a show with his son, Austin, and it's really good. A frequent guest on the Lost Arts radio show that I produce and engineer with host Richard Sachs. Our frequent guest is Dr. Rima Lebo, and she calls the FDA the Fraud and Death Administration. I think that is very applicable as well. Marine Le Pen, survival of France at stake in second round. The system has attempted to choke political debate. That's from Breitbart. Yeah, that's what I said yesterday on the Diamond Report. I knew that that's what was going to happen. Washington Post poll shows if the election were held today, Trump would still beat Clinton. That's on the Daily Caller. Socialist French mayor calls constituents a-holes, threatening to quit after they back Le Pen. That's on RT. North Korean nuclear program linked to home in suburban London. UK freezes assets of London-based North Korean insurance company. I don't know how to stop homegrown terror attacks, says Department of Homeland Security Chief John Kelly. That's from the Daily Mail. That is not something you want to hear from the Homeland Security Chief. French presidential election, a battle between globalism and France First populism. That's from Front Page Mag. Alex Jones breaks down why the elite fear him. They're out to get him and destroy the movement to restore liberty and justice to the world. That they are. Fillon leads establishment conservatives to historic defeat in French election. That's on Breitbart London. Trump says most of the media is fake. Yeah, we covered that earlier. We know that. Mainstream media is the fake stream media. This man is the devil and will destroy the earth. Exclusive video on why the media has increased their attacks on Jones and InfoWars. Candidate Trump, I love Wikileaks. President Trump, arrest Assange. From Ron Paul, whistleblowers who reveal to us the evil that's being done in our name are heroes. That's right. Don't forget that, Trump. Insane shrinks say Trump is mentally ill. Official science howls at the moon. That's from John Rappaport. Yeah, they do. I keep talking about this. It's the religion of science. The new religion is called scientism. The court says impaired drivers entitled to lawyer before taking alcohol or drug test. That's on Hawaii News Now. The ruling could potentially throw out key evidence in criminal cases. FBI to pay anti-war magazine it had targeted for investigation. Anti-war had published a watch list of people the FBI was investigating after September 11th, 2001. 8 cultural practices that men must restore. The human body wasn't designed for tech slavery. That's on Return of Kings. And as I said earlier, entire U.S. Senate to go to the White House for North Korea briefing. Unusual for the entire 100-member Senate to go to such an event. Yeah, I've never ever heard of that. Ever. LePen says it's time to free the French people. Patriots will battle globalists for the future of France and EU. LePen is fighting the good fight. NRA to introduce new concealed carry training and insurance. That's from the Washington Free Beacon. Japan made secret deals with the NSA that expanded global surveillance. That's from The Intercept. NSA kept watch over Democratic and Republican conventions. Snowden document reveals. That's also from The Intercept. NSA blimp spied in the United States. Study says infants with DTP vaccine 5 to 10 times more susceptible to dying. That's from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Infants with vaccine at greater risk of dying from other causes. Well, yeah, infants with any vaccines are at greater risks than those who don't have vaccines. And apparently more from the warmongers. Defense chief and top general say U.S. needs to confront Russia in Afghanistan. They just can't get enough, can they? Haley warns North Korea, don't give us a reason to fight. That's from The Hill. Iran and Russia boost military ties amid U.S. action in Syria. Military alliance between Tehran and Moscow growing. This is becoming a biblical situation here, folks. I mean, Gog and Magog, have you ever heard of that? Many people think that's Russia and Iran forming an alliance to take out Israel. Could that be what's going on now? North Korean media issue threat to wipe out U.S. Pyongyang still believed to be far from reaching its aim of building missile capable of reaching U.S. mainland. Scientists can blind a self-driving car from seeing pedestrians. Well, that's why they call them self-crashing cars. Researchers can use noise to stop computer vision's algorithms from detecting specific types of objects, including people in the way of an autonomous car. Yeah, people will be getting run over left and right with these things. And more on Hannity. Sean Hannity fires back after unfounded accusations. First, O'Reilly got the boot. Now the establishment directs crosshairs toward Hannity. I just said that moments ago. I had not seen this headline before I said that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. They're going to go after Hannity now to get him booted off the air, just like they did O'Reilly. Although I do believe that O'Reilly was guilty, he didn't do anything worse than, say, a Bill Clinton or someone who's a leftist does all the time and doesn't get in trouble for it. The difference is O'Reilly can't do it because he's a conservative. Britain faces bloodbath from farmers if government makes it easier to import cheap food from the U.S. Yeah, that's going to be GMO food. Establishment money floods behind Emmanuel Macron. Globalists band together to fund puppet Macron. Instant justice. Antifa assaults journalist in D.C. and gets arrested immediately. It's from Information Liberation. Tattooed vagrant was swiftly placed under arrest. And here we go again. The UN adds Saudi Arabia to Women's Rights Commission. Think about that. Women are second-class citizens in Saudi Arabia, but they're on the Women's Rights Commission. Is this Saturday Night Live again? Is that what's going on? Number of migrant criminal suspects in Germany surged in 2016. I don't think that's any surprise. Venezuela on the verge of revolution as hyperinflated currency crashes to new record low. That's from Zero Hedge. Children mutilated in the name of Islam. Female genital mutilation brought to the U.S. by radical Islam. And again, I say that there is no such thing as radical Islam. It's just Islam. It's just what Islam does. Political correctness is suicide. Multiple examples of how PC culture can cause more harm than good. Authoritarian airlines. TSA mentality metastasizes. New video shows yet another airline abusing its customers. Yeah, they're teaching us to become slaves. That's the goal. And more on the war on reality. U.S. hits Syria with sanctions over chemical weapons attack that they didn't do. 47 years of Earth Day lies and false alarms. Every year on Earth Day, scientists push their opinions on the masses. I agree with that to an extent. We don't want to get involved in scientism, the religion of science, and worshiping Gaia and so forth. However, there are some real problems right now, and the Earth is dying. And we need to do our part by not ignoring what's going on and trying to stop it. And the single biggest cause of the problem right now is geoengineering. We need to stop it. Can Marine Le Pen win? Or is the establishment candidate Macron a dead cert? That's from Paul Joseph Watson. InfoWars Nightly News. Trump meets with UN for war permission. President calls for meeting with Security Council over global instability. I don't think that's a good idea. FBI Director James Comey arrives in Queenstown for government conference. Steve says, Antarctica briefing? That would be interesting if Comey ends up going to, quote, visit the penguins in Antarctica, because that's where all the heads of state and major religious figures and people like that go. Now, why would they be going to Antarctica? I'm not saying he's going there, but he's as far as Queenstown, which isn't that far away. Over 13,000 deaths, 130,000 injuries projected if this week's Operation Gotham Shield's 10-kiloton nuclear detonation goes live from Lincoln Tunnel. Will the exercise go off without a hitch? Well, that's a good question. From the GatesstoneInstitute.org, China deploys floating nuclear power plant to South China Sea. And Steve says, with high-energy weapons needing extreme power, this is absolutely brilliant. If you believe in transgenderism, spontaneous genetic transmutation, you don't believe in real science at all. That's from Natural News. A Muslim doctor was arrested for practicing FGM on little girls. FGM involves mutilating the private parts of little girls so that they can't enjoy physical intimacy. And as I mentioned in the earthquake update, significant earthquake swarm near the coast of Valparaiso, Chile. That's on thewatchers.news. It's going to hit the poorest people. Zika outbreak feared on the Texas border as mosquito season ramps up again. Activists and health workers fear the worst for the Rio Grande Valley, where conditions are ripe for mosquitoes to breed. That's on theguardian.com. Yes, but Zika is basically like a mild flu, and it does not cause microcephaly. Not at all. There's no connection. It's strictly a completely made-up lie so that they can force vaccinate people or whatever they're going to do with this story. I don't know. But the whole thing is based on a false premise from the beginning. How Planned Parenthood uses linguistic tricks to deceive an entire nation about women's health care. That's on Natural News. From the Daily Mail, President Duterte says he can be 50 times more brutal than Islamic extremists and could eat any captured alive in the Philippines. Steve says, note the cannibalistic theme rising and its horrors being soft-sold to the public. Every parent needs to read this article, Our Children's Failed Future. The #1 living arrangement today for Americans in the 18 to 34 age bracket, according to the Census Bureau, is to live with their parents and not be married. That's from Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show. If you're a diabetic prepper or have a diabetic family member, this may be the most important article you'll ever read. That's on the survivalistblog.net. Fukushima radiation alert. Concern nuclear chain reaction could occur at the plant. Reactors are still melting down and spewing radioactivity as fuel has burned through containment. Expert says it's unprecedented. Could have been 12 Chernobyls. That's on ENE News. Culture of lawlessness, desire for human flesh grows as cannibalism returns and bloodthirsty scientists reveal new discoveries. It's on ChristianTruther.com. Plane with blocked details lands at Wellington Airport. Now who could that be, do you suppose? Comey? Steve Quayle and Tom Horn on Hagman and Hagman Thursday night, unearthing the lost world of the Cloud Eaters, where they demand the Smithsonian to open its hidden warehouses so that the history of ancient America can be rewritten. Yeah, and the truth told, I would say. From the Daily Mail, is this where mankind will find proof of Martian life? Researchers reveal detailed map of potential Mars landing site for NASA's 2020 rover. An emasculated culture in a FEMA Nazi society. Only those who have been existing under a rock are unaware of the integral destruction of Western civilization and fundamental values that mark the last several decades. That's on BATR.org. Terror on California BART train as 60 teens commandeer subway car and rob and beat passengers. Unrestricted welfare, the blueprint by which the United States could be and is being crippled. That's on outlawpatriotnews.wordpress.com. Okay, that's all for today's Diamond Report. Thanks for listening and watching. If you would, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Facebook, please go to the Diamond Report's Facebook page and like that so you get further notices as I add new videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you tomorrow.